When looking for news stories to read, what headlines grab your attention? Why those ones and not others on the page? When people are searching for interesting things to read online, the headline is usually the first thing to be seen. It also gives potential readers a direct link to the full story. For this reason, writing a good headline is the best way to get people to read your story. In this lesson, we'll be looking at what makes a good headline, and then we'll look at some tips and guidelines to help you write a good headline for your stories. For more information, see the additional learning resources and quizzes below this video on the lessons page. A headline is a title given to each story. The job of a headline is to give the reader a reason to read your story. It is there to grab attention. It should tell the reader what the main idea of the story is about, why it is interesting, and it should leave them wanting to know more. Headlines fail when they don't relate to the story, when they're not to the point, and when any of the words used can confuse. People will not read what they don't understand. If you want people to read your story, you have to get them to click on your headline as soon as they read it. The only way to do this is to make sure your headline stands out from all the other ones on the page. It is very important that the headline is short and to the point, so avoid unnecessary words. People scan headlines to pick out key information. They want to know what the story is about quickly. A good headline is clear and direct and simple to read. It is relevant to the story it is introducing. It gets the reader to ask questions they will want answers to. The best headlines are often written in present tense. They are also grammatically correct, just like any other sentence you would write. Finally, headlines should show facts. It is not about emotions or things that are not sure. Let's look at some examples. What do you notice about the headlines that you see? Once you have the main points for your headline, feel free to play around with it to see what you can do to make it more effective. Ask people you know to read your headline and ask them what they think. 8 tips to strengthen your headline. 1. Read the story first. Try to summarize the main parts, but don't tell them everything. Keep readers wanting to know more. 2. Try to focus on an idea that you know people will connect to. Something that touches on things that have meaning in their everyday lives. 3. Experiment with different ideas to see what works best. 4. Look out for the most viewed story of the week or month. Use these as a guide to knowing what headlines work. 5. Look at other people's headlines. See what makes you want to click. What is it about their headline that makes them interesting? Once you know what you would click on, you can make your headlines work in the same way. 6. When writing your headline, think of 2 or 3 words that you would type into Google if you were looking for your story. Include these words in your headline if you can. 7. Remember to use words that people understand. Avoid jargon and slang unless you know it is used for something that is common knowledge. 8. Know your audience. Be sure to give the headline the time and thought it deserves. Now that you know the key things that make a great headline, use what you've learned to make your next headline your best. Think about what headlines interest you and why. Make sure it is clear, easy to read, attention-grabbing, and relevant to the story as a whole. Ask yourself, if you saw a headline like that, would you want to read the story?